Let's technically analyze Nasdaq 100, and we're on the weekly chart, as you guys can see. And again, just to recap, the last time we spoke about Nasdaq 100, we had mentioned that in as far as the weekly chart goes, we had this huge double bottom, and we had said also that because it started at this point, ideally, or in a perfect world, we want to see price actually head up to close more or less in line with where it started, and also to complete that huge multi-session W structure, right? But what do we see today? What we see today is that the market on the weekly chart had given us this overextended W structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, and we can see that because the structure actually started at that point, more or less, it has closed in line more or less with where it had started, which means that this W structure over here is no longer relevant. And because price has reached where this W structure had actually started, it is quite safe to say that at this point we expect a retracement of sorts, and we may see price from this level actually move further down to around this level, and at that level, which is now a very strong level of support, we may see again price at this point actually move up to complete that structure, or to complete, or rather to close in line with where this huge W structure or double bottom had started. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, guys. So what I'm saying, guys, again, just to repeat myself, is that price at this point in time is at a very strong level of resistance, and because we had this huge W structure which has now completed itself, we may see price actually head down to around this level, which is where we have that very strong level of support, and at that level is where we may see the market actually move further up. In fact, let's just zoom in a bit and also utilize the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if we have any numbers that align with that very strong level of support. Let's have a look. There we go, more or less. There goes our Fibonacci, and in as far as Fibonacci goes, we can see that this level over here, which is a very strong level of support, aligns with the 23.6% Fibonacci retracement level, right? So should price from where it is actually head down to around this level, at that level is where I believe we should look for those potential buy opportunities, because as I said, at the end of the day, we still want to see the market complete this very nice W structure or double bottom, right? Anyway, from here, let's head down to the daily chart and see what's happening down there. And here we are on the daily chart. And remember, guys, that on the weekly chart, we had spoken about how the market had given us this huge W structure over here. And we said that it started at that point, and we can also see that price or the market has closed more or less in line with where it had started. And at that point is where we actually ideally want to see price come back to this level to test it, because it's a very strong level of support, and at this point where we have that very strong level of support is where I believe we should look for those potential buy opportunities, right? But what else do we see now that we are on the daily chart? At this point I don't see much really, guys, but as much as I'm saying that should price come back to this very strong level of support, and that at this point is where we should look for those potential buy opportunities, just also bear in mind that we may see the market actually move further down to around this area over here, right? And at this area is where we may see the market actually move further up, and that is because as much as we have this huge overextended W structure, we also have a smaller W structure over here, and it also has a neckline more or less within this block over here. And just remember that necklines are not actual lines like I have here. Necklines are areas, right? So in other words, we could say that the neckline of this huge overextended W structure is this area over here. This entire area over here is the neckline of that huge overextended W structure. And by the way, it is an overextended W structure because that first leg is much higher than that second leg, right? So as I said, the anticipation for price to move to this point, and at this point is where we would look for those potential buy opportunities. Having said that, we know that the market may actually head to around this level, and at this level again is where I believe we should look for further buy opportunities if this level actually fails to hold price, right? Anyway, let's proceed. What else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart? At this point I don't see much. Let's head down to the H4 chart, and here we are on the H4 chart, and we can see that in as far as the H4 chart goes, we are indeed in an upward trending market. If we can just add the actual channel, just to illustrate this point, we can see that the market is in an uptrend, which confirms that indeed we should be looking for those potential buy opportunities. But remember, guys, just to zoom out again, remember, because that W structure we spoke about on the daily chart started at that level and it has closed more or less in line with where it started. We expect a retracement of sorts. And just to zoom in again, just bear with me, right? Just to zoom in again, we expect price, to actually from this level at least move further down to around this level, and at this level is where we would look for those further buy opportunities. And I said that if this level fails to hold price, the next buy level should be around this level over here, more or less, right? But just to zoom in regards to the H4 chart, right, we can see that where we have that strong level of support that I spoke about on the bigger time frames, we also have what seems to be an overextended W structure or double bottom, where this side is the first leg and this side is the second leg, and where we have, as I said, that very strong level of support is the neckline of this W structure. And you guys also know that whenever we have these, ideally we want to see price closing sufficiently above the neckline and then come back to the neckline to give it a test. And at that level where we have the neckline is where we normally look for those potential buy opportunities. So we want to see price come back again to this level to give it a test, and at that point is where, again, as I said, we will look for those potential buy opportunities, right? In fact, let's utilize Fibonacci just to see if that neckline aligns with any key numbers that we have in regards to the Fibonacci retracement tool. So just bear with me, guys. Let's have a look. Fibonacci, let's have a look. Unfortunately, we don't really have any numbers that align with the neckline. Nonetheless, that's not an issue. We'll just remove the Fibonacci retracement tool. And just to zoom out again, guys, just to repeat myself, right? Should price come back to this level, at this level is where I believe we should look for those potential buy opportunities. And if this level fails, the next buy zone should be around this level over here, this zone, this big zone over here, right? Remember I said that necklines are not lines, they are areas. So this entire area over here is the neckline of that huge W structure that we spoke about on the daily chart. But just to go back to the weekly chart, right? On the weekly chart, right? Remember I said, right? Just to zoom out a bit, let's just see, just bear with me, guys. Right, on the weekly chart, we said this huge structure started here, more or less, and in a perfect world, we want to see it, or rather see price continue to move further up to close pretty much in line with where it had started and to complete this huge W structure over here or double bottom, right?